Before there's an image, there's a feeling. It's hard to name. It's not a sound, but it isn't silence either. It exists in the space between a slight pressure, as if the air itself is too heavy to vibrate, but it's still trying. Slowly, the landscape comes into view. A vast, almost perfectly flat expanse stretches out in every direction. There are no tall trees, no buildings nearby, no real landmarks to judge the distance. The sky feels enormous, too close, pressing down in a way that just feels wrong. And at the center of it all, there's a structure that makes no sound at all. It's not grand, but it's not small either. It just feels misplaced. A technical building? Purely functional, no decoration. It looks like it was designed to do one single thing and nothing else. There are no open windows, no signs explaining what it is, no clear sign that anyone has been here recently. And yet, it doesn't feel abandoned. The lack of sound here is absolute. There's no wind rustling across the field. No insects. No birds. Not even that distant hum that usually reminds you the world is still going on somewhere else. It's as if every frequency has been meticulously removed, one by one, leaving behind a space that's too clean to be natural. As we get closer, it's clear the structure isn't dormant. Thick cables snake out and disappear into the ground. Fixed antennas point to precise spots in the sky, but they do look like they re for broadcasting. They look like they're for listening. Everything about this place suggests careful calibration, not to send signals out, but to receive something unknown. Metal panels cover the outside. The surface is worn, but not damaged. Time has passed here quietly, evenly, without any drama. A calm, patient erosion. There's no big entrance, just a narrow access point, only wide enough for one person at a time. Stepping through it, the change is immediate. The air gets colder, denser. The silence doesn't go away, it hits. Deeper, inside, long corridors stretch out in perfect, straight lines. The walls seem to absorb sound completely. Even footsteps don't echo properly. It is like any attempt to make a noise is just caught and dissolved before it can even form. This place doesn't reflect sound. It consumes Italiano. Room after room is filled with technical precision. Old equipment sits right next to newer systems. Analog, digital, hybrid, recorders, sensors, monitors, all arranged with a clear logic, even if their purpose isn't obvious. Many are switched off, but some, disturbingly, seem to be running, even though they're not making any noise. In a central chamber, large reels of magnetic tape are turning slowly. There is no hum from a motor, no mechanical vibration, but they move constantly. They're recording something that can't be heard, something that doesn't show up as sound waves, but still leaves a trace behind. Notes are scattered on tables, frequency charts, hand-drawn graphs that show continuous lines, which then suddenly drop into empty space. They're not spikes. They're not errors. They're just a total absence. The logs mention specific times. Always the same times. Moments when all measurements just stop. All at once, no matter the source, the distance, or the type of sensor. It's not interference. It's not a malfunction. It's an event that keeps happening. During these intervals, the world seems to lose something vital. Written reports describe physical sensations, a pressure in the chest, a mild feeling of trouble holding a continuous thought. No one mentions hearing strange noises. Instead, they all describe the same thing, a silence so profound it becomes something you can feel, almost touch. One technician wrote that during these moments, the mind tries to fill the void. Another noted that the body reacts before the conscious mind does, as if it recognizes a threat it can't name. None of them write about being scared. Just uncomfortable. A sense of anticipation. Deeper inside the facility, digital clocks show different times, even though they're all connected to the same system. Some are moving forward. Others are rewinding. None of them are stable. Time here doesn't just flow, it adjusts, constantly, to something outside. There's no official explanation for what this place is for. The files are fragmented, incomplete, ending before any real conclusion is reached. But one idea keeps popping up in documents written by different people in different years. This isn't about hearing known sounds. It's about recording what exists when all sound disappears. The original theory was simple, at least on paper. If the universe is in a constant state of vibration, then absolute silence shouldn't be possible. And if it were detected, it wouldn't mean the absence of sound, it would mean the absence of something far more fundamental. They weren't looking for a message, they were looking for confirmation. Over time, the tone of the reports starts to change. The language becomes less technical. More personal. Incomplete sentences start showing up among the data. Observations replace measurements. The detached scientific neutrality begins to crumble. One of the last logs says that the silence being recorded isn't static. It approaches. It pulls back. It returns. It's as if it's responding to the very act of being observed. The structure itself doesn't react when this happens. No alarms go off. No lights flash. No protocols change. It just keeps recording with absolute patience, as if this was always the final goal. Outside, the landscape looks the same, but the sky seems to move differently. The clouds are slower. Shadows fall in directions that don't quite match the sun. Everything is still functioning, but with a slight delay you can't quite measure. Staying in this place for too long creates a strange sense of familiarity. The body starts to adapt to the lack of sound, to accept it as normal. Thoughts begin to stretch out. Time loses its sharp edges. There's no obvious threat, no feeling of hostility, just this persistent sensation of being watched not by eyes, but by the very space between things. Maybe sound was never the point. Maybe what's being recorded here is what's left when everything else is stripped away. And if absolute silence isn't empty, but is actually occupied by something that only becomes noticeable when nothing else is competing for your attention, the structure remains where it is. Functional, patient, recording, waiting. Because some things don't announce their arrival. They simply wait for everything to become quiet enough to be noticed.